Hello again from 3D Cartoon Review. At the end of the previous chapter, the Spirit Tower chose Luo Feng, and the ancient sitting mountain guest took him as a personal disciple. Today, the story opens like a blade pulled from a sheath, quiet, bright, and very, very sharp. The tower's heart was a hall of glacial light. In that hush, Luo Feng summoned a familiar figure through the virtual universe, Zhong Jian King, to meet him inside the tower's core. The instant Zhong Jian's silhouette appeared, a cold ripple moved through the walls. The Spirit Tower itself sent a thought, cool and impersonal. "Do you require me to eliminate the intruder?" Luo Feng lifted a hand. No. This was the tower's forbidden central sector. No one but the tower's recognized master could stand here unscathed. For a moment, the vast artifact seemed almost childlike, unimaginably powerful, yet still new in its wisdom. Luo Feng chose to guide, not command. He turned to Zhong Jian King with the question that had gnawed at him since the day a friend's death turned out not to be what it seemed. "Tian Zhen King, have you seen any trace?" Zhong Jian King shook his head. Since the chaos around Zhou King's end, Tian Zhen had never reappeared. "If not for your warning back then, I would have missed the rot beneath the surface of Zhou's death," he admitted. Luo Feng did not look surprised. He had seen Tian Zhen's mind work. Deep water looks placid until something drowns in it. He asked the tower itself. Information flowed. 359 human immortals remained under its current sky. None matched Tian Zhen's aura. The tower added one more thread. Tian Zhen King left this place 1,800 years ago. Luo Feng exhaled. The Spirit Tower battlefield had become his home terrain. Here, advantages piled up like snowdrifts at his back. And yet after so many years, of course Tian Zhen might have slipped away. It changed nothing. Find him. If a direct line was gone, he would draw a web asking those who had known them both, tapping old acquaintances in the virtual universe, trading favors for rumor until rumor turned into path. At the same time, he shaped another, harder plan. He could not yet fully control the Spirit Tower. Even so, its nature gave him a terrifying toolkit. Sense the position of hundreds of thousands of non-human elites, step directly into any of the tower's forbidden spaces, open or close their gateways at will. It was a hunter's map drawn by God. Allies matter in an endless sea of stars. Failing that, soul-bound vassals do. But binding an immortal, especially one equal in power, is a nightmare of technique and odds. Soul arts experts have better chances, and they're rarer than phoenix plumes. The other path is uglier. Crush the enemy unconscious, then brand the soul before they self-detonate or die. Sometimes it works, often it ends in ash. Even success carries a hidden bill. Reviving a sealed immortal soul can exact a ruinous price. He chose a first target anyway. Hei Ya, king of the Tua race, a peak king of the universe known among the demon camp, powerful, cruel, and if the stars smiled, convincible under sufficient pressure. The world he entered was a forbidden space of silver snow, its light thin as a drawn wire. A figure in silver armor walked across it, metallic wings furled at his back. Dao He King, the foreigners named him Blade River King, and his footfalls sounded like verdicts. Hei Ya turned at once, recognition burned to killing intent. "Zongjian," Luo Feng said. His ally teleported to a point behind Hei Ya King, only to smash into a sudden space seal. The Tua had come ready. A snarled order went out. Two armored ape carapace brothers lunged to stall Zhong Jian King, while Hei Ya himself faced Luo Feng directly. Luo Feng raised his left hand. 6 black spheres floated into his palm, then slid into an arrangement of astral lines, a star array diagram whose geometry seemed simple until the eye tried to follow it to its end. A test, he thought. The first stone into a long river. The air folded. Hei Ya King did what anyone sane would do against the Blade River, refused the melee. Luo Feng's blade and indestructible body were legend. Hei Ya chose his best road soul attacks. His eyes flashed with controlled madness. An invisible wave knifed through Luo Feng's armor and into his body, a pure soul strike meant to unravel thought from within. The answer arrived from deeper than bone. Something ancient stirred inside Luo Feng, and growled. A beast god shadow spun from primeval inheritance. His will surged, cold iron and hot storm together, and the foreign mind spike shattered like thin glass under a hammer. Luo Feng replied. The 6 black spheres unimpressive to look at, catastrophes in truth whipped out in a single line. Under his world force they became a beam that tore the snowfield open, scoring a trench through space itself. Hei Ya paled and threw up a white-silver shield etched with old runes. The first sphere hit. Impact howled. The shock crushed bone. His arm buckled and split. The second sphere struck, crushing the shield out of his hand and into wreckage. The last 4 hammered him in quick succession. Immortal flesh exploded, rechnit, exploded again, greenish blood sprayed, and steamed on the air. Hei Ya howled. He lit a forbidden soul secret crimson tongue exhaustion and hurled it at Luo Feng in a last bid to end the fight from within. The beast god's shadow roared again, and the secret art came apart like frost in sun. Luo Feng weighed the result, surprisingly pleased. A handful of spoken commands, the sheer mass bound into the sealed spheres, and a peak soul, Master King, was in tatters. Good. Enough testing. He woke the script lines on the spheres and pulled at origin power just a breath, just enough. A vast beast god phantom loomed in the tumbling snow. The 6 orbs settled into its right claw. Heaven trembled. The strike erased Hei Ya King. Body torn to fragments, and before it could reconvene, Luo Feng flicked the 7th black sphere into the storm. Its skin gleamed with a sheen of ink, the Phimak Absolute Poison. It splashed, ate, raced. In a blink, over half of Hei Ya's divine body had been corroded. His power fell off a cliff. Run! His mind screamed to his allies. Luo Feng moved first. 10,000 hearts soul control. Thought no. Command poured from him like a tide and pushed into Hei Ya's weakened core. The Tua answered with the only dignity left to him. He ripped free and self-detonated, obliterating soul and ash together rather than bend the knee. The snow settled. Luo Feng let one breath go, then another. This was the math. Equals do not bind equals without blood, time, and luck. Today luck had tilted toward ruin. He collected what ruin had left. Between Hei Ya and the 2 ape carapace brothers now scattered across the snow, the treasures piled up to roughly 300 billion Hunyuan units. Not what he had wanted, more than many would ever see. He changed nothing of his plan. A second forbidden space opened. This one held 4 insect, clan elites, including precisely what he sought, a peak king-class soulmaster. The fight rose and fell in 3 minutes. Outcome: another 600 billion added to the mountain. Binding attempt failed again. Wealth came quickly, so would attention. Luo Feng measured that danger and chose the only counter: speed. He and Zhong Jian King became a storm. 12 engagements in 4 days, always against peak king soulmasters. Not one binding held. Every single target died. The battlefield inside the Spirit Tower had not spoken his name in 6 millennia. Now it said it constantly, like a prayer or a curse. News escaped 9 of those 12 battles before the light had even faded. 4 dead from the machine race, 2 from the demon race, 3 from the insect race. It was a list that turned officers pale and made strategists mispronounce their own orders. Dao He King Blade River King stalked the tower again. The tremor reached across the 3 great camps. On the 5th day, the river bent. The opponent's name was Lianxi Xin King, a renowned soul master. Luo Feng fought with the same patience sharpened by ruthlessness. Phimak Poison first, shaving the enemy's divine body to 36%, then the soul seize. The battle inside was fierce, layers of command and resistance colliding like waves, but at last Lianxi Xin kneeled inside his own mind. The victory left Luo Feng oddly quiet. He reached into his hoard, brought out treasures harvested from the dead across the previous week, and used them to rebuild his new vassal's divine body to completion. The difference was immediate. Lianxi Xin King could burn his immortal god force to supercharge soul control, multiplying the chance that the next binding would hold. A door that had been bolted shut a day ago now creaked open. The targets climbed extreme peak kings. The strategy changed. Luo Feng no longer had to risk standing in the center of every storm. Zhong Jian King and Lianxi Xin King struck as a pair. Luo Feng commanded, interdicted, and tilted every field with timely use of treasures. When precision mattered, he snapped a thread, and the door of a forbidden space closed behind an enemy, like a trap springing. A month burned past like paper. 46 battles. The beginning of a soul vassal army. 9 immortal kings now stood inside Luo Feng's shadow. 6 were extreme peak kings, 3 were peak soul masters. A Bing Hun Ti net, a rare ice soul silk net, had fallen into their hands almost by accident and became a noose no one saw coming until it closed. In every engagement, spoils piled up. In every engagement, vassals turned over those spoils without hesitation. Luo Feng accepted command, dispensed resources, maintained his growing force like a commander who understood the word logistics as a kind of war. It was wealth on a scale that made the math dizzy and a cost to match. Feeding 9 immortal engines so they could keep burning, healing, binding, and killing began to pull at even Luo Feng's mountain of gains. Pressure accrued. He carried it easily, then heavily, then simply. Outside their circle, the spirit tower turned feral. The story of Dao He King's butchery and recruitment ran ahead of him. Crowds fled the tower to seek quieter fields, others the blood-hungry. The terminally confident rushed in, betting on glory or on catching the storm off balance. Every day, more blood steamed on the tower's stone. The noise pulled eyes from very high places. The Destiny King of the Machine race, the Tower Dragon King of the Demon race, and a long list of old names whose presence changes how officers breathe. They all look toward a single location and a single name. Someone causing this must be holding a treasure or standing on some immense chance. Within the tower's central hall, the answer to that speculation stood in plain view. Luo Feng's silver armor bright as a blade, silver wings closed like a promise, stood straight as a sword. 9 immortals arrayed behind him, a formation that looked like arrogance until you saw its mathematics. He studied his own weakness without flinching. He was not yet immortal. He could not burn divine power to pull a victory out of a losing sky. If a peak king lit himself like a star, Luo Feng had to lean into foreign treasures and attrition. That was the old risk. It had not vanished. It had been braced. With 9 immortals behind him, the window where he could be crushed had narrowed to a slit. It was time to deal with something older than a month of war. He stepped into the virtual universe, into Hongming City, and sought out a woman he trusted to weigh gold against truth fairly, Rong Yan King. He did not bargain long. "Find Tian Zhen King's coordinates," he said. 100 million hunyuan for certainty. She considered and nodded. A beat later, the answer slid across the air between them, cold and precise. Outer Battlefield 7's most dangerous region, Gemini Phantom Domain. Tianzhen was there. Luo Feng's reply was action. In the central hall, he called his 9. Through the god kingdoms of his vassals, they transited to Gemini like a blade moving through cloth. A little later, Rong Yan King's exact coordinates arrived. Luo Feng's Mosha race clone tasted the air and locked space with that particular joy only a true traveler knows. In the next breath, he and 2 vassals teleported toward a floating continent where the man he sought was working. On the far side of that space, Tian Zhen King moved with his own small constellation, 3 powerful soul-bound vassals beneath him, a fortune built across years of slaughter and luck. If wealth could buy comfort, he should have slept. He did not. Dao He King in the Spirit Tower, people were saying, had killed more than 10 of the Warzone's top names in a rhythm that allowed no time for denial. The name Luo Feng yawed inside Tianzhen like a bad tooth you keep pressing with your tongue. He remembered the old gamble more than 6,000 years ago now, when he had tried to murder Luo Feng through other hands and almost managed it. He remembered the moment Luo Feng threw a fire god origin crystal, like a die at the table of destiny, and let it fall where it would. He had known then that if the boy lived, he would become trouble. He had not guessed how fast that trouble would learn to cross rooms. A spatial tremor whispered at the edge of perception. Tianzhen's head snapped up. He stared toward the ripple. Something in his spine named it omen. The air tightened. And there, episode 198 ends on the breath before the door opens. A month of storms behind us, a name like a question ahead, and a man who once bet on another's death feeling the stake pulled from under his feet as space itself prepares to deliver the past back to his doorstep. Thanks for listening on 3D Cartoon Review. In the next episode, coordinates meet consequence.